the skateboard.
I was really wanting to do some sick ass tricks for you guys, like you know, a sick kickflip or like a pop shove it or something, but that's about my skill set. That's the threshold of my skateboarding skills right there. Simply just standing on it, gaining a little bit of momentum, and even that's a challenge. Kingdom Hearts 2 is wild, man, especially when you compare it to Kingdom Hearts 1 and the gameplay formula that was used. Square Enix really did redefine almost every single aspect for KH2, comparing it to its very first installment. Aside from that of like world interaction and whatnot, Kingdom Hearts 2 is simply a gem. So many incredible new additions like limit attacks, reaction commands, drive forms, and the fluidity of the gameplay overall just felt so much better. Something else that they really nailed in this game, which really, honestly, they didn't have to nail, was the skateboard. Yeah, for whatever reason, Kingdom Hearts 2 had a skateboard mechanic, which it really takes me back. Though, looking at the time era in which Kingdom Hearts 2 was released, being 2005-2006, it kind of makes sense. That was a good way to grab the teenage demographic. To really make this JRPG, ARPG, Disney Final Fantasy crossover appeal to the skater bros during the time. It really takes me back just how good the skating feels in Kingdom Hearts 2. It didn't need this at all. It's simply there to serve as a mini game of sorts. It doesn't really serve too much purpose unless you're that lazy that you really just can't be bothered running from one end of the area to another to then warp into the next. It kind of makes movement a little bit more Speedy Gonzales, if you please, but it's not like Kingdom Hearts 2 is an open-ended game with large areas, so the skateboard really didn't need to be here. I remember the first time I played Kingdom Hearts 2 and in the Roxas section coming across the skateboard for the first time, and man, I spent hours on this thing, grinding the rails of Twilight Town, trying to stay in the air for as long as humanly possible by using air walk and 360 spin. It was so much fun also using the skateboard as a literal weapon of mass destruction. Okay, emphasis on mass destruction, a little less on that, I think, because it's not that powerful, but you really can juggle enemies with this bad boy. Of course, only Square Enix would end up turning the skateboard into a weapon for a JRPG. I mean, it totally makes sense, right? It's Square Enix after all. It's a better use of a weapon here in Kingdom Hearts than it is in Skate. It's the little things that I come to really appreciate about each Kingdom Hearts game, and certainly when we look towards the skateboard, it's one of those little things that I really appreciate about this game, and it's the only Kingdom Hearts game to feature the skateboard mechanic. Like, again, this just didn't need to be here, and even if they wanted to add a skateboard into this game, they could have just made it so it's something you ride and that's pretty much it. But no, Square Enix went to the extent of actually adding in skateboard tricks to be able to be utilized, like airwalk, method grab, 360 spin, being able to grind on rails and then press circle for a pop jump or square for a handstand whilst grinding. God, sorry, you are styly. And of course, yeah, it doesn't feel like realistic skating, but for an arcade sense of things, man, the skating felt really good in this game. I think I got kind of more fun out of the brief moments of skating in Kingdom Hearts 2 than I did with some of the skating out of Tony Hawk's. Mind you, of course, Tony Hawk's was a focused skating game, but for a game that doesn't need skating whatsoever and is a Disney ARPG, I think Square Enix did really well with this system. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed to see that the skateboard didn't return in Kingdom Hearts 3. I felt like it probably would have served more purpose in Kingdom Hearts 3 with the areas being that much more expansive this time around. You know, I was really looking forward to walking into Twilight Town for the first time in KH3 and seeing that skateboard there in the Tram Common, but lo and behold, no, it's not there. It's forever stuck in Kingdom Hearts 2. But we now have another chance. Kingdom Hearts 4 is currently in development, in the setting of which depicts a very real-looking Tokyo, Japan. I cannot think of a better time to bring the skateboard back. This is a very real wish list thing right here. And it just makes too much sense for Kingdom Hearts 4. Sora now looks more realistic. We are literally in a city environment. There are grind rails, ramps, stairs. Square Enix may as well call the guys over at EA and start chucking in some of their Skate 4 tech into Kingdom Hearts 4. I want to skate down the Shibuya crossing and get chased by a security guard. Like, I really want this to happen. And seeing just how well they did with the skateboard system in Kingdom Hearts 2, can you just imagine like how much better it could be in Kingdom Hearts 4 now with like the knowledge that Square have with the Unreal Engine? They can make some really cool, tricky looking shit. Like, I want to see some crazy skateboard tricks that would only ever be able to be executed in something like Kingdom Hearts. You know, like Sora could use Firaga and we could like fly the skateboard to the moon. Or just do some like bonkers stuff where we use Aero to like skateboard ollie from one skyscraper to another. Intertwining the powers of fantasy and magic into the art and sport of skateboarding. I feel like a lot of people probably didn't really dip too much into the skateboard system in Kingdom Hearts 2, and what I mean by that is the mini games that came along with it. It wasn't just there to be there, although it kind of seems like that at first. There were a total of 5 mini-games in 5 different worlds throughout Kingdom Hearts 2 that involved the skateboard. And I feel like these mini-games were pretty well hidden. Unless you're going for the Kingdom Hearts 2 Platinum, you're probably not going to come across these. These mini-games would either have you trying to achieve a certain amount of points within a time limit, achieving a high score without touching the ground, or collecting a certain amount of crystals within a time limit. If you talk to Scrooge McDuck in the marketplace of Hollow Bastion, you'll be sent to the Millen's house area, and you have to try to achieve a high score of 200 points. The technique that you want to pull off here is grinding between 2 rails, and in between both rails pulling off some sick tricks. Doing so will grant you some nice points. It's a little bit tricky though, because even if you hit the side of the wall, the points will reset to 0. There's another one in Port Royal. If you talk to Will, he'll ask if you want to try that sliding plank again. That's absolutely hilarious. It's because he's from the 1700s.
Yar me dude, should we shred up on the sliding plank?
The goal here is to collect 20 crystals in the town of Port Royal while under a time limit. If we talk to the girl next to the item shop in Twilight Town, we'll have to achieve 1,000 points, but we only have a total of 5 jump attempts. However, because we are in the Tram Common area, there are plenty of rails to grind to keep us in the air. There's also one in Agrabah. By talking to the peddler, we once again have to collect a certain amount of crystals under a time limit. And the final one is in Halloween Town. If we talk to Locke in Yuletide Hill, we have to try to achieve 1,000 points in Santa's workshop. Yes, we literally have to shred shit up in Santa's workshop. The skateboard though can be found in pretty much every single world in Kingdom Hearts 2, and what's even more unique about this is for some of the worlds, the visual appearance of the skateboard looks different. So for like Port Royal or Agrabah, the skateboard looks like a piece of wood, which is super cool. There's even one in Space Paranoids where the skateboard has the neon effect going on. So I just can't help but think, what would this system look like in something like Kingdom Hearts 4? They could really go balls to the walls and even add something like a Tony Hawk's or Skate combo point system. I mean, look, Kingdom Hearts is not a skating game. It doesn't need a skateboard mechanic in it whatsoever, but it was a nice little treat to see this in Kingdom Hearts 2. And I think it makes more sense than ever to bring it back for KH4 now that we are literally in a real world city. Hey, we've already got reaction commands coming back, right? So why not the skateboard? However guys, I'd love to know what you think. Did you like the skateboard in Kingdom Hearts 2? And would you like to see this very unique piece of gameplay for a Kingdom Hearts game return for the 4th major installment? However guys, I'm Cynical. Hopefully you're having a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys real soon. Peace.